Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a thought that may very well change the trajectory of your life. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Now, that may sound like a simple quote, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Inside that sentence is the secret to transforming dreams into reality. It's the missing link between the person you are and the person you wish to become. It's the answer to why some people succeed and others merely hope. Everyone has goals. Some want financial freedom. Others dream of a healthy body, a strong family, a peaceful mind, or meaningful work. But goals, no matter how noble or inspiring, mean little without one thing: discipline. Discipline is the silent force that makes the alarm clock matter. It's what turns intentions into habits and habits into destiny. It's that moment when you say no to ease and yes to effort. It's choosing growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses. And the best news: discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one small choice at a time. Every life-altering transformation begins not in a sudden stroke of luck or the grand applause of a cheering crowd. It begins in a quiet moment of decision. A moment when you stand face to face with your reflection and admit that something must change. Not because someone else told you to, not because life pushed you, but because deep within you, something awakened. You recognize that if you don't make the decision to discipline your life, then circumstances will discipline it for you. There comes a time when you say enough is enough. You're tired of being tired. Tired of drifting. Tired of watching others win while you stay stuck in a cycle of almosts and maybes. That decision, that quiet resolve, becomes the turning point. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. That's when everything changes. The seeds of greatness don't grow in the fields of convenience. They grow in the soil of deliberate choice, watered daily by discipline. The decision to get serious is the first spark that lights the fire of consistent action. It's easy to sit back and wait for the right time. But the truth is, there is no perfect time, only time that's passing. And every day that passes without that inner decision is a day you never get back. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is your shot. And if you want to get somewhere you've never been, you have to become someone you've never been. That someone is born in discipline. There are only two kinds of pain in life: the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. And when you choose the former, you avoid the latter. It all starts with deciding. Deciding that your goals matter, that your family matters, that your future matters, that your time matters. Once that decision is made, it becomes the cornerstone of a new life. No one stumbles into excellence. No one wakes up accidentally successful. It doesn't work that way. You don't get fit by visiting the gym once. You don't build wealth by saving once. You don't become wise by reading one book. It's a daily journey, and it begins with the decision to become intentional about every step. You see, without discipline, ambition is like a sports car with no fuel. It looks great but goes nowhere. The dreams are there. The goals are there. The excitement might even be there. But without that bridge of consistent, disciplined action, all of it remains out of reach. That bridge is built the moment you decide to stop negotiating with your excuses. One decision can change everything. The moment you say, "I'm done letting distractions win," you claim authority over your future. The moment you say, "I'm done settling for less," you reclaim your potential. That single decision, repeated in the quiet of each morning, is more powerful than 100 motivational videos. Because it's not hype, it's commitment. Real, raw, tested commitment. You don't need the whole staircase, you just need the first step. That first step is discipline. That moment when you trade your old story for a new standard. You decide, this is who I am now. And from that point on, your actions no longer depend on mood. They depend on mission. The beauty of this truth is that it doesn't matter where you start. It only matters what you decide. Some of the most successful people in the world started with less than nothing. What they had was a decision. They decided that the old life was no longer acceptable. They decided that mediocrity was no longer an option. And that decision birthed a discipline that pulled them out of limitation and into legacy. But decision alone isn't enough. It must be followed by daily application, daily commitment, daily repetition. Because what you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. Consistency is where the magic happens. Greatness isn't built in one massive leap. It's constructed brick by brick, habit by habit, action by action. And so it becomes clear that your destiny is hiding in your daily disciplines. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You need to master today. Just today. Because today is all you ever have. If you can win today, and then tomorrow, and then the next momentum builds. That's how empires are built. That's how character is shaped. That's how results begin to compound. You can't expect a better life without better routines. You can't hope for abundance while practicing procrastination. The habits you practice today are the life you live tomorrow. So, if you want to change your life, change your rituals, change what you repeat, change what you tolerate. It's never the one-time action that changes your life. It's what you do consistently. You could read 100 books once and gain little. Or read one book 100 times and master the principles that shift your reality. You could go on one jog or build the discipline to run every morning. One makes you feel good for a moment. The other makes you fit for a lifetime. And let's be honest, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not flashy. It's waking up when you don't feel like it, saying no when temptation calls, doing the work when no one's clapping. But that's where transformation lies, in those uncelebrated moments. In the grind, the grit, the quiet. That's where you earn your future. You can't outsource discipline. You can't delegate it. No one can be disciplined for you. It's something you carry within. Something you choose when it's hard. Something you strengthen every time you push through. The reward, freedom. Freedom to live on your terms. Freedom to say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. Freedom to look back one day and say, I lived this life with intention. Success doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to discipline. It shows up for the one who shows up daily. The one who understands that repetition is the mother of mastery. The one who understands that skill comes from sweat. That excellence is earned, not given. You don't have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're inconsistent. They start, stop, start again, and wonder why nothing sticks. But if you show up every day, even imperfectly, you gain something the world can't take away: compound growth. Each disciplined choice becomes a building block. Each act of focus becomes fuel for the fire. And before you know it, you've become the kind of person who keeps promises to yourself. That's power. There's no hack that replaces consistency. There's no shortcut to the top. If you want it, you must earn it, and you earn it in the quiet repetition of your daily life, in how you speak to yourself, in how you honor your commitments, in how you choose what matters over what's easy. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. It says, I believe in my future enough to act like it today. Look around you. Everything you admire, the master musician, the world-class athlete, the brilliant thinker, none of them arrived by accident. They arrived by discipline. They didn't practice only when it felt good. They practiced until they were great. Not because they were born great, but because they chose to be great every day. So now the question isn't whether you have what it takes. The real question is whether you'll take what you have and make it enough every day. Will you commit to the process? Will you show up when it's hard? Will you push past comfort and build character? Because at the end of the day, your results will reflect your rituals. Your outcomes will mirror your inputs. Your harvest will only be as rich as your planting. And the fields you water daily, those are the ones that grow. That's the secret. That's the truth. That's the bridge. There's a strange paradox when it comes to discipline. People think it takes freedom away. They think discipline means being boxed in, losing options, being restricted. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Discipline isn't what confines you. It's what frees you. It's what opens the gates to a life you actually want to live. The moment you embrace discipline, you begin to experience the kind of freedom others only dream about. Not the illusion of freedom that comes from doing whatever you want in the moment, but the real freedom that comes from doing what needs to be done so you can live on your own terms. You can't be truly free if you're a slave to your impulses. You can't live with peace if you're constantly chasing comfort. You can't have a fulfilled life if you've trained yourself to avoid what's hard. The truth is, discipline is the gatekeeper to peace. Discipline lets you rest at night knowing you did what you said you would do. It lets you walk tall, speak confidently, move with purpose. It puts you in control instead of letting life run you. Without it, your life is left to chance. With it, your life becomes a product of intention. The cost of discipline is measured in moments, moments of saying no, moments of pushing forward, moments of choosing better. But the reward, that stretches across decades. The reward is health. It's confidence, it's financial stability, it's strong relationships, it's personal pride. And none of that comes free. It all comes from the willingness to pay the price. The thing is, most people pay either way. They either pay with discipline now, or they pay with regret later. But regret is always more expensive. It never gives anything back. It doesn't teach, it only reminds. Reminds you of what could have been if only you had done what you were supposed to do when you had the chance. Discipline doesn't remove pleasure. It enhances it. Because when you've earned your joy, when you've worked for your peace, it feels different. It's more satisfying. It's richer, deeper. You're not trying to escape anything. You're celebrating progress. That's what people miss. They think they'll be happy when they get the goal. But the real joy comes from becoming the kind of person who earns the goal. That's where fulfillment lies, in the becoming. And the beautiful thing about it, it's not reserved for the few. Discipline doesn't discriminate. It's available to the teenager trying to change his future, to the parent trying to build a better life, to the entrepreneur trying to grow something meaningful, to the leader trying to set an example. Anyone can access it, but not everyone will. Because discipline demands more than desire. It demands sacrifice. It demands you say no to the party and yes to the plan. It demands you choose the early morning over the extra hour of sleep. It demands you eat with intention instead of emotion. Speak with clarity instead of frustration. Work with focus instead of distraction. It demands you do what's right, not what's easy. And while that may seem hard in the moment, it's far easier than waking up 5 years from now in the same place, wondering where the time went. The secret to winning is not found in intensity. It's found in consistency. You don't have to go all out for 3 days. You have to show up for 30, for 300. You have to stay with it long after the emotion is gone. Because motivation is fleeting. It'll get you started, sure. It might even get you through a few rough patches. But it won't get you to the finish line. What gets you there is discipline, showing up, again and again. Not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't. The strongest version of you is not the one that always feels fired up. It's the one that keeps moving forward even when you don't want to. The one that puts on the shoes when the bed feels more inviting. The one that keeps the promise even when no one's watching. That's the person who wins. Because they've trained themselves to follow purpose, not just pleasure. And let's talk about environment, because it matters more than people admit. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And one of the most powerful systems you'll ever build is your environment. If you're trying to get disciplined in a chaotic, unfocused, unintentional space, it's going to be a fight every single day. But if you build an environment that supports your priorities, then discipline becomes a little easier. Not easy, but easier. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your standards, not your excuses. If you spend time with people who laugh at discipline, who roll their eyes at commitment, who scoff at routine, they're pulling you away from your future. Your tribe should elevate your energy, not drain it. It should inspire action, not justify inaction. And you don't need a crowd. You just need a few who get it. A few who are chasing excellence too. Think about what's around you every day. What are you listening to? What are you watching? What's in your space? What's on your calendar? Are these things aligned with your goals or distracting you from them? Because every piece of your environment is either a friction or a fuel. It's either making it harder to stay disciplined or making it easier. Discipline is hard enough as it is. Don't make it harder by living in a space that works against you. Organize your surroundings to support your standards. Put your workout clothes where you can see them. Place your books where you'll grab them instead of your phone. Keep your journal out where you'll write in it. Make your home, your desk, your phone, your schedule. They should all whisper to you. You're serious about this? And there's power in removing temptation. You don't need to prove how strong you are by keeping distractions close. You need to be wise enough to remove them. Discipline doesn't always mean resisting. It often means avoiding. Don't make yourself fight battles you don't need to fight. Create boundaries that keep you focused. Choose systems that work for you. Automate what you can. Reserve your energy for the things that truly matter. Your energy is a limited resource. Your attention is a limited resource. Your time is a limited resource. And every time you let something steal it, some useless scroll, some empty conversation, some bad habit, you're not just wasting a moment. You're weakening your discipline. Because discipline is built in the little things. It's built in what you tolerate. It's built in what you allow. And it's either getting stronger or weaker every day. And don't wait for your environment to change on its own. Be the architect of your life. Design your world with purpose. Build routines that serve your mission. Set up systems that work for your vision. Turn your life into a space where excellence feels natural and distraction feels out of place. That's when discipline becomes less of a battle and more of a lifestyle. Remember, you become what you repeat. If you constantly put yourself in places of chaos, you will carry chaos. If you constantly surround yourself with order, intention, clarity, you begin to think and act that way. Your environment trains your behavior, so train it back. Discipline isn't just about the big moments. It's about the daily atmosphere you create, the standards you allow, the triggers you remove, the boundaries you set. And when you take full responsibility for your environment, you take full control of your future. You may not be able to control everything in life, but you can control how you show up. You can control how you think, how you speak, how you act, and you can control what you allow to stay in your space. That power is yours. The more intentional you become with your surroundings, the more automatic your discipline becomes. So many people wonder why they can't stay consistent, why they start strong and fade fast, why they keep returning to old habits. It's not always a willpower problem. It's often an environment problem. You're trying to run a marathon with a pebble in your shoe. Fix the pebble and the run gets better. Clean your space. Choose better company. Clear your calendar. Your discipline will thank you. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Start small. Rearrange one corner of your life. Replace one toxic input. Adjust one routine and then another. Slowly, steadily, your environment shifts. And as it does, so do you. Discipline becomes less of a push and more of a pull. Less of a grind and more of a flow. That's the goal. That's where power lies. Because when discipline is supported by the right environment, it becomes sustainable. And when it's sustainable, it becomes transformative. That's when you stop fighting for change and start living in it. That's when discipline stops being something you do and becomes who you are. You've probably heard it said that success is something you attract by the person you become. And there's no becoming without process. No transformation without consistent effort. No achievement without development. The person you are today has brought you here. But the person you need to become will take you further. That shift, that evolution only happens when discipline becomes part of your identity. Not something you do temporarily, but something you live, something you embody, something you protect and sharpen every single day. Discipline has a way of exposing your gaps. It shows you where you've been hiding behind excuses, where you've let emotion override execution, where you've relied too much on inspiration and not enough on intention. But rather than seeing that exposure as failure, see it as feedback. See it as the blueprint to your next level. Because without clarity, you stay stuck. Discipline gives you that clarity. It reveals who you really are, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet places, the early mornings, the late nights, the decisions no one applauds, but everyone eventually sees. That's the irony of discipline. It's invisible at first. Nobody notices your small choices. No one claps when you say no to dessert. No one celebrates your reading habit or the fact that you stayed in to work on your craft. But give it time. What's invisible today becomes undeniable tomorrow. The world eventually sees what you consistently built in the dark. And by the time they call you lucky, you'll already know you weren't lucky. You were disciplined. Results never lie. Your bank account, your health, your confidence, your skills, they're all reflections of the disciplines you've practiced or neglected. The best part, if you don't like what they're telling you, you can change it. Not with wishful thinking, not with empty affirmations, but with committed action, with showing up daily to become the version of yourself that your dreams require. You'll hear people say, just be yourself. But what if yourself isn't where you want to be? What if yourself is addicted to comfort, to procrastination, to fear? Don't just be yourself. Build yourself. Construct a version of you that's worthy of the life you say you want. And the construction material, it's discipline. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you lay a brick in the foundation of that future. Every time you choose long-term gain over short-term pleasure, you add strength to your character. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest enough to admit when you're slacking, when you're not doing the work, when you're drifting instead of driving. Because discipline isn't a straight line. It's a constant recalibration. You fall. You get back up. You adjust. You learn. You move forward. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. What used to feel difficult starts to feel automatic. Because habits, once hardwired, become who you are. And while we're talking about habits, understand this. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. One workout doesn't make you fit, but it casts a vote. One healthy meal, 1 hour of focused work, one journal entry, they all cast votes. Enough votes and the identity shifts. You stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined, and you start suppling. This is just what I do. That's how champions are built. Not through explosive moments, but through daily disciplines. And when people finally notice your results, they won't understand the price you paid. They'll see the shine, but not the sacrifice. The applause, but not the hours of solitude. That's okay. You'll know. You'll carry the quiet confidence of someone who did the work in silence. Someone who let their consistency speak volumes. Now here's a powerful truth on success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming an attractive person, not in appearance, but in attitude, in skill, in discipline, in energy. When you become better, you attract better opportunities, better relationships, better outcomes. And becoming better is entirely in your control. You don't need permission. You need a decision to rise, a decision to stop blaming and start building, a decision to own your life fully and without excuse. And yes, excuses are seductive. They feel good in the moment. They justify the inaction. They protect your ego, but they never produce results. You've never seen someone succeed because they had a good excuse. You've only seen people win because they refused to be defined by limitations. They decided that even if things weren't perfect, they'd move anyway. Even if it was hard, they act anyway. Even if they were tired, afraid, or uncertain, they'd still show up. Show up. That's half the battle. And if you can show up long enough, eventually the results will catch up. It might not happen on your timeline. It might not look like what you imagined. But the universe rewards discipline. Not always immediately, but always inevitably. Keep your head down. Work. Improve. Repeat. Don't let the slow pace fool you. Progress is being made even when it's not obvious. Trust the process more than your feelings. You'll have days when you want to quit. Everyone does. Days when it feels the results seem far away, when comfort looks so tempting. That's when discipline matters most. Anyone can keep going when it's easy, but when it's hard, that's where character is carved. That's when you prove to yourself that your commitment is stronger than your craving. And remember, discipline isn't just about what you do. It's also about what you don't do. It's about not responding to every notification, not reacting emotionally, not engaging in gossip, not wasting energy on things that don't move the needle. The more disciplined you become, the more selective you are with your energy, your attention. You begin to realize that every distraction is stealing something valuable from your future. It's not about becoming rigid or robotic. It's about aligning your actions with your ambitions. It's about letting your behavior reflect your priorities. If your calendar doesn't match your vision, it's not a vision. It's a fantasy. And discipline is what bridges the gap between imagination and reality. It takes what you dream about and turns it into something tangible, measurable, impactful. You want more income, more freedom, more impact. Then you need more discipline, not more information. You already know enough. Not more inspiration. You've heard enough. What's missing is consistent execution. That's what separates talkers from doers. Dreamers from achievers. The life you want isn't waiting for more motivation. It's waiting for more discipline. And here's something most people miss. Discipline affects every part of your life. It's not just about work ethic. It's about how you show up in relationships, how you treat people, how you handle stress, how you maintain integrity. Discipline creates internal harmony. It aligns your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And when you live in that alignment, everything becomes more powerful. Your words carry weight. Your presence commands respect. Your decisions are rooted in purpose. People notice. They may not say it, but they feel it. They feel the calm in your energy, the clarity in your voice, the consistency in your behavior, because discipline brings stability. It brings order to chaos, direction to drifting, focus to noise. And in a world that's constantly trying to pull you in every direction, that stability becomes a superpower. Don't underestimate what can happen when you get serious. When you stop negotiating with your old self. When you raise the standard and refuse to lower it for anyone, not even yourself. You don't need to announce it. Just move different. Think different. Operate different. And let time reveal the transformation. Because that's what this is really about. Transformation. Becoming someone you're proud of. Someone your future self will thank you for. Someone who made the hard choices now to enjoy the easy life later. While others were partying, you were preparing. While others were scrolling, you were studying. While others were drifting, you were building. That's the guy you win. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a passport. A passport to a life that's earned. Not inherited. A life of choices, not chances. A life of impact, not insignificance. And that life begins with a simple decision. One you make today. One you make tomorrow. One you make every time life gives you a fork in the road. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And discipline is the system that carries everything else. You can't wait until you feel like it. You train yourself to do it anyway. That's what makes you uncommon. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's how you build a legacy that outlives your name. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. And the only way to do that is to keep showing up. Keep choosing growth. Keep walking the path. Day by day, step by step, with discipline as your compass.